Paul, you've been around quite a number of years now, and the fans still love it and everything. Is there anything in interleague play to you at all anymore? Is there still a boy in you that likes this, seeing guys that you haven't seen all season long?
I think the Cubs Sox thing is that's good, and that will always remain good. Some of the other series, when you're playing teams that is not a natural rivalry, or White Sox Pirates. I don't know how much that's really still everybody's enamored by that, players and fans. But I'm sure the numbers show that it's important to people, and that people like to see the American League teams in the National League stadiums and vice versa. But for me personally, if they just kept the Cubs series and did away with the rest, I would be happy with that. But I'm sure it's going to probably stay as is.
I remember when you came over to the Sox early on, and you'd hang out with Greg Norton and a couple of the other guys. When you look back around the league, who do you think has been some of your strongest friends or allies in this game?
To say, Norty. We were just talking about him in the dugout. He's doing well. Good to see him still trucking along. I saw Cal Eldred the other night. He's working now as a TV guy, and you bump into people as you go. Ross Glode was here for a couple of years, still a good friend. You make so many along the way, and the great part about baseball is you can not see a guy for 2 years or not talk to him for 3 years, and when you see him again, you just pick up right where you left off. It's kind of like a universal language that you guys speak together, and you just make so many friends in this game that you hopefully keep when you're done playing. And I guess in the end, that's kind of what that you're going to take from the game, is the relationships between coaches and players and teammates that you had when you're playing.
You hear about some of the guys, deal with not only the pressures of this game, but then they have family things that they have to worry about. Ryan Dempster with his daughter now and everything. How is it for you? How hard is that balance especially in this game that goes on so long and you're on the road for so much?
Well, before I had kids, I never even thought about it. It just came easy, and there was really none of that stuff that you're mentioning about. Once I had the first one, he gets a little bit older, kind of gets a year old, and things start to kind of constrict a little bit, and you start to know that there's a lot more going on besides just the game every day, and a lot more responsibility. Then you have another one, and it just adds to the mix. And no question, now I'm 33 and have a wife and 2 kids, and what I go through now, and it's all great too. It's very rewarding, but the day-to-day operations of the player when you are now married and have kids is totally different than when you first come up. If you're single and don't have any kids and no responsibility, it's all just about showing up at the park and come and go as you please, and that kind of stuff. The road trips are much harder now. Like leaving today to come here and knowing I'm going to be gone just for 3 days. You got kids crying. It's not fun, So that stuff weighs on you a little bit more.
Have you figured out this game at 33 yet?
The only thing I figured out is that you can't figure it out. That's about it. It took me a while to figure that out. I think the more I play, the more you realize that all you can control is that approach, whether you're at the plate, in the field, on the bases, between games. All you can control is how you're going to go about it. And the results, there's just sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. And I don't think I've ever put my finger on it. I don't know if anybody else has, but you just have to kind of really know what makes you tick and focus on that approach, and just let the chips fall. And if something's kind of a little off, maybe you tinker with it a tad. But that's about it, man. This is my 11th year, and I feel like I'm doing that better. But to know that you are going to have a good game today, I don't know as much today as I did then when I first came up.
Last one, as I let you go. You're always been a guy who comes out, talks win or lose, stand-up guy. A student of the game, which you find a lot of the younger guys aren't. And I read your comments about what's going on with performance-enhancing drugs and all. For you, just in general, when the game gets a black eye like that, does that hurt you as a member of this fraternity?
It does a little bit. I think there's no way around that, because this game is about the fans. We're only here because of the fans. If the fans didn't come to anything, it wouldn't exist. Right. And so if it bothers them and you see it does, then ultimately it comes back onto the player to know, hey, this is something that was bad. I think what I try to tell people is you got to look big picture here. 20, 30 years from now, people are going to look back and say, well, that was a tough time, but because of that tough time, here we are now, and it's a totally clean game. Did things happen in the past? Absolutely. It's been proven. It's out there. There's no question about that. But I think if everybody just takes a broader look at it and says, well, this had to happen, just like there's been other scandals in sports, whether it be betting or drugs, there's always that period of time where it seemed like it was the end of the world. But then as you get more removed from it and get 20 years down the road, you say, well, now we have such a that's not even an issue anymore because that happened. It's unfortunate it had to happen, but it's kind of an evolution of things, and it's the way it is. I mean, and some players, some reporters, some writers are caught up in this era of it, and then the ones down the line won't be. Might be something new for them. You know, maybe they'll have to deal with something that we don't now. You don't know. I just try to take a big picture look at it.
Yeah, you know, 20 years when you finally retire, you know, you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Hopefully get a couple more years in and then call it quits.